Welcome back to Danica and James. Well, 12 people, including children, have been killed in a Hezbollah rocket attack on a soccer field in Israel.
Joining us now is Co-Chief Executive of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, Alex Ryvchin. Alex, the situation between Hezbollah and Israel is already red hot, but this latest Hezbollah attack really threatens to push the two into all-out war, does it not?
Yeah, this is the escalation that everyone feared for so long. And you have 12 children dead, murdered by a Hezbollah rocket supplied by Iran, laden with 50 kilos of explosives that struck a well-illuminated, well-lit, clearly defined field, a civilian target. And it's devastating. It's a terrible thing that has occurred. And listening to leaders of the Druze community in Israel's north throughout the day, they are absolutely livid. They are ropeable. And primarily their anger is directed at Benjamin Netanyahu and his government for allowing this sort of status quo to develop where every day for the past 10 months, Hezbollah has been taking pot shots at Israeli civilians at will, firing rockets, sending over suicide drones. Civilians and soldiers alike are being killed on a daily basis. You have 100,000 Israelis evacuated, unable to return to their homes for 10 months now. And no one wants to see a full-scale war between Israel and Lebanon. This would be a devastating war which would dwarf what's happening in Gaza now. But this situation cannot be allowed to continue.
No, it's just absolutely terrible news overnight. Now, Alex, Kamala Harris has met with the Israeli Prime Minister and she has said that she wants Israel to, quote, get this deal done and agree to a ceasefire to end the conflict in the Middle East. This is what she said.
There has been hopeful movement in the talks to secure an agreement on this deal. And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done. So to everyone who has been calling for a ceasefire, and to everyone who yearns for peace, I see you and I hear you. Let's get the deal done so we can get a ceasefire to end the war.
Alex, what does Middle East policy look like, in your view, under a possible Kamala Harris presidency?
Well, hopefully not like that. And it almost makes you nostalgic for a good old Joe Biden press conference. You know, Kamala Harris's remarks since she became the nominee have been very mealy-mouthed, full of balancing statements, clearly designed to placate all factions and segments of the Democratic Party. She knows she has to win a lot of states and a lot of different factions and sections of US society in order to have any hope of defeating Donald Trump. And there's been a decisive lack of moral clarity on her part. And the electorate won't go for it. The electorate wants to see leadership. They want to see principles. What made America great was the ability to distinguish between good and evil, to see the fight against Nazism and Soviet communism and Islamic terrorism after 9/11 as a binary conflict of good versus evil. And the fact that she can't extend that same sort of clarity to this conflict is bitterly disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I would have thought it's fairly binary. You've got a democratic nation state and you've got what effectively is a terrorist camp. It seems pretty binary to me. The New South Wales Labor organisation are calling for their federal counterparts to recognise Palestinian statehood as a matter of priority. Alex, I guess this is not a surprise, but your comments?
Well, we've gotten used to, at every single Labor conference, state and national, these sorts of resolutions being put up. Quite often we see more extreme texts being offered and then being negotiated in the back rooms, and you see some sort of middle ground. But the mood in the Labor Party for a long time has been, as indicated in this resolution, it's been towards recognising unilaterally a Palestinian state. And the fact that it's being discussed now, the fact that it's even on the agenda, post-October 7, after what was done in the name of the Palestinian cause, it's at best misguided, at worst it's scandalous. And those in the Labor Party who are genuinely concerned for the fate of Israelis and Palestinians and want to see peace, and I'm sure many do, they should pursue those policies that will actually get us there. It's not about recognizing a state which doesn't exist in law or in fact, and which, if it came into existence tomorrow, would be a failed state, another jihadist staging ground. If you want to establish peace, you have to build the institutions in Palestinian society that will be peaceful and democratic and will live alongside Israel and not seek to displace it at every opportunity. That's where the exertions and energy of the Labor Party should be directed.
Absolutely. You're spot on there. Alex, we have to show you this wonderful gesture made by the Israeli Olympic team in the pool in Paris over the weekend. They put out this tweet, but if we bring up the picture here, they made a figure in the pool saying, "Bring them home now." That's the message. What comes to mind when you see that?
Well, it's a beautiful gesture, and it's been on our minds and hearts of the Jewish community and the Jewish world, and I would say the civilized world, for 10 months now. And it's difficult, it's painful to contemplate the fact that so much life has been lived in that time, so many things have happened in our personal lives, in the world, and through that time, over 100 Israelis have lived in this frozen state of hell, and their families as well, in this bondage, while leaders around the world make, again, balancing statements, mealy-mouthed words, calling for de-escalation, when this travesty is taking place before our eyes. And we all yearn for them to come home as a community. We pray for them. We work for them to be released. But this requires the effort of the great powers of the world to put aside the nonsense and the lack of clarity and actually do something to bring these people home and end their suffering.
I should point out, Alex, the bravery of the Israeli athletes, not just for that gesture, but I was reading during the week that many of them require security in Paris, the likes of which are normally reserved for a head of state because of the threat to their safety. So good on them, and trust they do well. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Alex.